Welcome to the Mattioli Woods, Welford Road for Leicester Tigers against Connacht. And of course this weekend, European rugby still coming thick and fast on a Saturday night. Well, Steve Borthwick at home will be really excited about being in the last 16. He'll be looking upon the likes of Johnny McPhillips to have a massive game tonight and steer his boys, as for that man there as well, Jasper Wiese. Well, Andy Friend, he picked up a little injury, not walking all so well, not so mobile. He'll be looking for his players like Jack Carty to be running fast and fluid and getting their backline running, as well as guys like Alton Delan, a big unit up front that's going to have to stop that Leicester momentum. Well, Steve Borthwick is really excited about knockout rugby here at the Mattioli Woods, Welford Road, and he earlier caught up our very own Laura Winter.
Well, Steve, knockout rugby in Europe. The sun's been shining this week. How is the atmosphere in camp in the build-up to this one?
We're really looking forward to the game. I think Connacht are a very good side. They've been proving that with the performances again, especially their performances away from home, and they've been very clear they're sent out to win this trophy. They've said that many times in the media, and they've picked an exceptionally experienced team for it. When you look at this team, they've got nearly 1,500 Connacht appearances in the team. So we know it's a great challenge, but it's one we're really looking forward to.
And let's talk selection for Leicester. Do you think fans will be surprised not to see the likes of George Ford, Freddie Stewart starting, given the fact it's knockout rugby?
Well, I think, as ever, you pick a team that's the right team for the game. And I think there's plenty of considerations that you've got to bear in mind. Certainly with the international players, we know we have to give them recuperation periods, recharge periods, post that international window. So we're managing each of the players on an individual basis, and the responsibility is on the players that we have today to keep taking us forward.
And you're just 8 points off fourth in the Premiership. Is this an indication, selection tonight, that your priorities lie there instead?
Until the final whistle blows today, I'm focused on this, and then I'll start looking at whatever's next. So I don't think too far ahead. I want the boys tonight to go out and put in a performance that we can be proud of, that our supporters can be proud of, and takes us forward.
Thank you very much. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, and a warm welcome to Austin Healy and Mike McCarthy. Big nights. It's been a long day of European rugby. It's been a great day, hasn't it, Austin?
Yeah, it's been some fantastic games, and we're finishing one tonight where I think it looks a little bit, as an old Leicester player, a little bit one-sided actually in the favour of the visitors. And you know when you start the week and you think, right, we're going to Welford Road, and you're worried about the likes of Genge and Cole and Ford and Stewart, and then you get the team on Thursday and all of a sudden you think, do you know what, it's on this, it's really on. Yeah. And that's, I'm sure, how they feel. Yeah,
I'm sure. I mean, Laura asked the question there to Steve Borthwick. From a fan's perspective, are you slightly disappointed? I mean, there's lots of quality out there, but as you said, there's a lot of international names missing.
Yeah, a little bit disappointed. You know, there's a lot of quality still on the field for Leicester, but they're in a fine vein of form. They've only lost to the Chiefs recently, and you'd think maybe they want to try and keep building that momentum, but it's clear for Borthwick. He didn't say it there. He batted it back with a straight bat, but they're concentrating on the Gallagher Premiership. It's clear for anyone to see.
Yeah, well, if Leicester Tigers are concentrating on the Gallagher Premiership, Connacht have come here fully loaded, 1,500 Connacht caps. What do you make of the team, Mike?
Yeah, it's exciting. A lot of experience, a lot of miles on the clock. You look at that front five of Finlay Bealham, Dennis Buckley, Dave Heffernan. You know, they've been there, they've done it, and that, you know, I love the look of the second row. Alton Delan, he was an absolute beast back in December in the Champions Cup against Racing 92. And his partner in crime, Gav Thornbury, who was named in the Guinness Pro 14 team of the season. And then you've got Marmion and Carty pulling the strings at a fly half and scrum half. So, you know, those guys are going to really have to stand up today because they are missing some experience. You know, Bundy Aki missing through a ban. Yep. Club captain Jared Butler also missing. Tino Halloran missing in the backfield also, and Big Quinn Rue in the second row. They missed him against Racing 92 as well, and he'll be a big loss today.
He'll be a big loss, but let's focus on who's playing. Austin, for you, the key head-to-heads tonight.
Well, look, the halfbacks are going to be key. Ben Young's obviously playing particularly well, but not, you know, with England coming back, he's not going to get that many opportunities with Leicester maybe. And you talk about getting the opportunities to rest them. They've got some really good nines, Leicester. These two going head to head. We'll try and look at the tempo. Marmion for you is obviously a great guy who brings the forwards in, and that's exactly what you want, particularly when you're away from home.
Yeah, Kieran Marmion, he's a front five's worst nightmare. You know, around the 50-60 minute mark with him sniping, he's always having a little look, and he always seems to find a little gap or put someone into space. So he's a real threat for the Leicester front five today.
They certainly are. What about the 10s? What do you make of the head-to-head, that match-up at 10?
Well, obviously, Cotty's well-known boxer tricks. He's got all the skill set. He can kick, he finds space, he takes gaps on himself, he looks for offloads. He really has that ability to just move the team around the field. You know, there's some really good examples of getting the ball through the tackle, finding opportunities. He's got a little bit like Paul Daniels, a full box of magic that he can pull out at any one stage. You know, but this is a fantastic kick for me, around the corner, over the top, against Racing, and in they go for the try. You know, he's going to really relish tonight, particularly with Zach Henry at fullback. He's going to be putting bombs up that normally he wouldn't. If Stewart had been there, they wouldn't have done that because he's a rock at the back. I think they'll test that at Leicester in the backfield.
Well, if Connacht, if that's the X-Factor man for them, where's the X-Factor in this Leicester team, Austin?
Well, I think Leicester have sort of found a couple of players that have added to the bedrock of the squad. Maroney in the midfield, for me, has played particularly well. He's got a real mix. He can attack very well, and also he's got a very good transition. When the ball gets turned over, he blocks on little kicks. And then, you know, this sort of player is what you want. Someone who slides in the 13 channel, finds opportunities, got a very good kicking game off either foot, and often just does a little bit something out of the ordinary. Here's a really good example. Breaks through, keeps the offload going. But for me, this is my favourite. More often than not, when you get in this scenario, you just carry, but he sees the space in the backfield and immediately forces the pressure, and that's what Leicester need. But the biggest signing of the season for Leicester has to be Visa. Visa has been immense. Now, with Ben Youngs at 9 and Ford normally at 10, McPhillips will relish him today. His ability to carry off the base and carry hard and make those extra metres stands him out. This guy carries more for anyone else in the league in terms of Leicester, but he also carries really intelligently. He breaks the first tackle, he makes an extra couple of metres. He's very quick off the base, gets outside the back row into backs. Subsequent phases are really easy to play off him. And if he goes well and goes forward tonight, Leicester have got a good chance. But I think they've got to play a possession game. If they don't play a possession game, it's going to be a long night for them.
Well, if he's bringing the physicality, Jasper Visa for Leicester, who's bringing it for Connacht tonight?
Yeah, Alton Delan, someone definitely activated beast mode when he played back in December against Racing 92. He was phenomenal. Both sides of the ledger. He's when he carries, he's really explosive, dynamic. He's got that X factor. You know, when he carries, he draws in 2, 3, 4 defenders. And on the other side, his defence. He's so physical and relentless. There, he's ragdolling Vakatawa. We know how difficult that is. So yeah, and he's got a relentless work rate here. He's carrying over Kamil Shah. He just gets like those yards after contact and makes it easy for the rest of the team to play off. So he's going to have a big influence tonight. They need him to stand up. You know, without Bundy a key here, he normally brings the energy and the physicality. A good game by Alton and a good start. He can really go a long way to helping Connacht start this game well.
Austin, we've seen loads of tries today right across Europe, haven't we? What type of game do you think we're going to get tonight?
I was trying to have a little bit of an afternoon snooze in the preparation for this, and then the Munster game just really brought me back to life. So I think we'll see a bit of open rugby tonight, but I think the kicking game and the control of the backfield is going to be absolutely crucial. Whoever manages the backfield better, I think will get the upper hand. We're going to see both of them pushing a load of pressure.
Well, thank you very much, Austin and Mike. You better head up to commentary. Good to get your thoughts, and let's hear the thoughts from the Connacht man who's in charge. That's Andy Friend, who was chatting earlier on to Laura Winter.
Andy, so you mentioned this week about breaking the English hoodoo. How are you hoping to do that tonight against a quality Leicester side?
Yeah, it's going to be tricky. We're here at Welford Road, as we know, and it's harder to beat a team at home, especially a Leicester team like the one that's going to be put out there tonight. So we've got to turn up physically. We believe we've got to outwork them, and if we can do those two things, we put ourselves in a pretty good chance.
And you're missing some key international pedigree tonight, namely Bundy Akia amongst a few. How will you look to plug those gaps, and who are you hoping will step up?
Yeah, we're going to need all 23 to step up, but you're right. Like our captain Jared Butler is not here, Bundy's not here, Quinn Rue's not here. We've got a few other boys who aren't here either. But we've been trying to build depth, and we have got a good squad now that has depth. So it's for those men who've been selected now to take their chance to step up and show us what they've got.
And we've mentioned the quality Leicester side here at home tonight as well. What have you been working on this week to counter some of the challenges you're expecting them to throw at you?
Well, first and foremost, it's about our physicality. We've got a front up there. So we know they're big men. We know they like to carry hard. We know they've got a very good set piece in a maul. So we're going to hopefully see Connacht turn up with good physicality, front up in that area, which is all about attitude. And if we can do that, then it's about moving the ball. And if we can move them around the park, keep the ball in play potentially rather than give them line-outs. That might suit us.
And what are you thinking is going to be the difference tonight? Where will the game be won and lost?
I think our discipline's key. So I think, we're seeing at the moment, if you're ill-disciplined, you get yourself in a bit of strife. So hopefully we end up with 30 players on the football field at the end of the game, which would be good. And I think it's going to be down to our work rate. We've got to make sure that we can outwork them, but do that for 80 minutes.
Thank you very much. Best of luck.
Thanks, Laura.
Challenge Cup quarter-final is the prize for Leicester Tigers and Connacht. More than 3 months since they last suited up for European action. There has been an awful lot of waiting and wondering, but finally the day has arrived. Knockout rugby is here, and these two lock horns under the Welford Road floodlights. Well, let's have a final funnel through the team sheets for Leicester. It is a heavily rotated pack, with only the South African game breaker Jasper Wiese remaining from last weekend. Thomas Lavanini, the Argentine, adds masses of ballast and power. And Luke Wallace is a snarling fetcher on the open side flank. He starts ahead of young Tommy Raffel, who drops to the bench today. Really high hopes in Leicester for tight head prop Joe Hayes. Ben Young straining at the leash, eager to play against Newcastle. But after a weekend of rest, Steve Borthwick has unshackled the England centurion. And Zach Henry shifting from 10 to fullback. Well, this Connacht side has a very settled look to it, but there are two major absentees up front. Quinn Roux injured, captain Jared Butler suspended, so Paul Boyle leads the team from number 8. In front of him, Gavin Thornbury has been a colossus all season, and watch out for his second row partner, the gigantic Ultan Delan, a hugely explosive customer in the engine room. And Finlay Bealham back from Ireland duty. Dave Heffernan likewise in that front row. Plenty of experience too with Dennis Buckley. And in a backline of power and panache. No Bundy Aki ruddering things though. A very experienced halfback duo of Marmion and Carty. And Steve Borthwick goes with a remarkably young Leicester bench. The grizzled Harry Wells slotted in amongst the pups, the only replacement older than 22 for Connacht. Watch out for the gargantuan Ibrahim Papali'i. He can be a real impact sub in the latter stages. Well, here come the visitors, led out into an eerily quiet Welford Road. On a European night such as this, it would normally be jam-packed to the rafters and teeming at Paul Boyle and Ben Young's walk their teams out into this quiet, cavernous amphitheatre of English rugby. It's a crisp spring evening in the East Midlands. This place not quite the fortress it once was, when the studs were sharp and the fists were flying and the ABC club were running the show. But Steve Borthwick, spearheaded by that man Ben Youngs, is slowly but surely turning things around. And the Tigers of today do not lose many at home. That is the challenge for Kieran Marmion, for Connacht. And there is Steve Borthwick, the wily set-piece geek that he is, just making sure his technology is all functioning. And this could be a real clash of styles. Gavin Thornbury in the Pro 14 Dream Team this season. There's Adam Jones. Pascal Gozer unable to take charge of tonight's fixture, so the Welshman has the whistle. And it is just his second Challenge Cup appointment.
Leicester. Time on.
Well, Newcastle Falcons lie in wait for the victors. Connacht into the lane of the Tigers, and immediately it is a significant error from Zach Henry. It's the second start at fullback, and he puts it out in the full.
I think Andy Friend will have been speaking all week about Leicester's start. They've been starting games particularly well. And they will have been focused upon that. And that's a perfect start for Connacht.
This is an interesting first set piece, Mike. Connacht look to get the shunt on here. There's no Ellis Genge, no Dan Cole in there for the Tigers.
Yeah, perfect start for Connacht being away from home. You know, that's the dream start, a set piece now, and they get the chance to paint that picture to the ref that they're in ascendancy. So a big moment here for Dennis Buckley and Finlay Bealham and Dave Heffernan.
Yeah, Buckley, Heffernan, the Bealham against De Bruyne, Clare and Hayes. It's a very sturdy looking scrummage for Captain Boyle. Marmion to Carty. Marmion on the runarounds. Connacht looking to inject some tempo right from the off. Marmion misses Boyle to Carty. And Dave Heffernan popping up in midfield and dipping that big shoulder of his. Thornbury. And we'll get through a mountain of carrying for Connacht this evening. Carty again just delayed the pass and it's loose. And Thomas Lavanini, of all people, is off on a little rumble in the wide expanses. And introduces Charlie Clare, try scorer against Newcastle Falcons last week.
Connacht looking a little bit narrow in defence there. Leicester almost exposed them.
Yeah, it's a fabulous relieving kick downfield, exploiting the space between Wooten and Porch, and Zach Henry redeems himself somewhat after putting that kick on the full.
On the edge, please.
Yeah, some lovely build-up play there from Connacht from the scrum. Break down the right-hand side, but ultimately they came up short and lost the ball in contact, and that's a big area Connacht have to focus on, is keeping the ball for long periods of time, really try and wear down this Leicester defence.
Okay, wait.
Yeah, the Connacht line-out has not been an area of great strength for them in the Pro 14 this season, but Masterson is the go-to man, and Boyle has a charge at Wiese.
Inside,
I think that's advantage to Jasper Wiese.
Hold in front.
Carty clears.
Okay.
Tester now for Gareth Porter. Here he comes, English-born, Australian-reared. Makes decent yardage. Youngs. Carry from George Martin, England's newest international. Lavanini spilled it, and Connacht are very dangerous if you give them open field and turnover ball.
Advantage.
And Daly has miscued that. So, curse to the commentator there. But Austin, as he chuckle away, you've got something to show us here.
Yeah, we're just looking back to that
out?
first scrum. I thought it was a really nice play from Connacht and their ability to get round the short side, but this guy's defence was absolutely spot on. He realises actually that he's a little bit too far away from McPhillips, drops back in a little bit closer to him to protect on the wraparound, and then manages to even bounce back out, bounce off the first tackle and make the second. If he doesn't get back to that second tackle, it's a really good running opportunity.
When we're kicking, we're put onside, we're
for
stopping
Porch.
Still, okay, because we're advancing
Clever defence. You've got to protect your 10 first and foremost, because if you get broke through the middle, it's very difficult to then recoup. You get beat around the outside, your cover normally gets there.
Scrum. They're the standards we set now. Really good last scrum, so we keep it that now.
Yeah, Matt Scott, last captain 2017 by Scotland. John Tigers from Edinburgh this season, and it's good tracking here across from the centre, Mike.
Yeah, it was a lovely bit of skill from Jack Carty out the back door as well. He's got the full array of skills. He's a bit Finn Russell-esque in terms he can bring a bit of magic, pull something out the bag out of nowhere. Comes from a Gaelic football background, so he's got the full repertoire.
I think I'm right in saying he had trials with West Ham United as a youngster as well, the Jack Carty. I think a lot of rugby players claim to have had trials with Premier League football clubs, but I think this is a genuine.
Backs do. I don't think many forwards do. Maybe some of the forwards had a job potentially as a caretaker at a football club.
Hold the weight, please, okay? And then we can take the hits.
He's been in great form this season. He'll be looking to add to his 10 Irish caps. Hasn't had a cap since that World Cup game against Japan, and real opportunity for him to lay down a statement today. With Joey Carberry being back fit after a long layoff for Munster today, he wants to keep his face there for the coaches to see.
Yeah, he is the province's all-time top point scorer, 9 shy of the 900-point mark. You better well fancy his chances of hitting that tonight as Connacht strike first blood at scrum time.
Number 3, hips down, aiming down.
Yeah, it looked like Joe Hayes was hinging in a bit there. Couldn't take the pressure from the front row of Connacht.
Yeah, Carty just probes into Tigers territory, and a first chance for Connacht to really flex their attacking muscles. What are you seeing here, Mike?
Yeah, it's just got a really good foundation from Connacht in the front row there. Causes Joe Hayes to hinge a bit. Looks like he can't quite take the pressure there. So, 2 good scrums, a good start for Connacht, and painting a really good picture to the referee.
Pressure on Dave Heffernan's throw. A clean catch from Thornbury. And now Boyle again is asked to do the carrying. Big bulldozing run from the skipper. Marmion switches sides. It's off the legs of Wooten. And Masterson has to do the grovelling on the grounds. Of course, lost the ding-dong thriller to the Scarlets in their final Pro 14 match. They do like to chuck it around, and they don't mind a little kick in behind either. It's Marmion's teasing box over the top, Wooten in hot pursuits.
Yeah, Porter and Young's had it covered, but they did really well actually to just be patient. This is a carry into the midfield by Boyle. It's a beast carry. As a 10, you'd really want to step out of the way there, because that's only got pain written all over it.
You man. Big throw for Charlie Clare, and it's all gone horribly awry for the Leicester Tigers hooker. It looked like it was knocked on off Finlay Beelam's hand.
And that's great pressure from the Connacht line now. They're very good at getting up in the air. Second row is Gav Thornbury, Alton Delan, Paul Boyle. They're very dynamic.
I believe it's a knock-on first from Black, and then it's touchdown. So can we just check the restart for me, please?
Adam Jones just consulting with Sean Brickell, the TMO. I'm not sure about Gavin Thornbury's rat tail there.
Yeah, it's a knock-on.
Yeah, so it's a knock-on there, isn't it, from Black? So it's going to be a scrum, green ball, 5 metres out.
That's correct, mate.
Thank you. Knock-on from Black, scrum, green ball.
Be worrying.
Beelam's eyes lit up there.
Yeah, big concerning. 5 metres out, you've really got to secure that ball. Or we're seeing a lot more sides throw it over the top now and try and recycle in the midfield, making the kick easy for the 9 and the actual carry. You've got to expect Visa to break off the base here, or Leicester go for the scrum penalty.
Yeah, the Tiger set piece is an area of massive strength.
Crouch.
9 of 10 scrums against the Falcons last weekend on their own feeds, but conceded a penalty in the previous one here. Pressure on Hayes and De Bruyne, whose shoulders are dipping down rapidly, and here is Jasper Visa, thunders into Jack Carty. Jack Carty ragdolled by the giant South African, rendered a speed bump really. But the clearing kick is made, and now here comes Porch. What can he conjure? Smashes into contact. And it's Joe Hayes in there with the tackle. Marmion goes blind. Lovely step from O'Brien, and he's slipped the tackle. Sean O'Brien, and galloping away goes Marmion, and it's a wonderful try for the visitors. It's predatory stuff from Connacht. O'Brien, the academy centre, with a thunderous break, and finished off on the shoulder by Kieran Marmion.
Yeah, it's a fantastic break. I think Zach Henry steps out the line, creates the opportunity in the outside dogleg.
Yep.
Here's the break. See Zach Henry's outside Martin there. He comes forward a little bit too quick, gets stepped on the inside too much for the big forward to defend. It's actually Henderson, he runs around the outside, and then once you're broken there, it's just a great support line, an offload for the finish.
Thank you.
Not bad for your European debut, is it?
Yes,
It's just the 7th senior match for Connacht. Sean O'Brien, 2 tries in his past 2 games, and he is quite the prospect.
Yeah, Leicester defence left a little bit of a dogleg, shooting up on the outside, and it was great work by Sean O'Brien. Great fend, great footwork to get out and break the tackle and give the offload.
It's a fabulous start for the visitors from West Ireland. Now on the western touchline, Jack Carty has to turn 5 points into 7. And it's coming round, but it's not quite curling round enough. And it fades across the face. Leicester Tigers 0, Connacht 5, thanks to Kieran Marmion's try.
Yeah, it's just Zach Henry, isn't it? He just overruns, overcommits to the outside, then can't get back to defend his forward. It's outside shoulder. Shouldn't be beaten on the short side like that when you've got numbers. You don't need that line speed on the outside on blind sides.
The poor boy catches it and then gets thumped backwards by Martin. Scott's grappling in there as well, but Connacht have it away with Ultan Delan, the Paris-born wrecking ball. Carty, Daly, they're going to try and run this one out through John Porch, but Wallace has his number. Thornbury. Good defence from the Tigers. Substitutes are sat just alongside from our commentary position, and they're roaring at every decision. And here is Johnny McPhillips, formerly of Ulster, and he puts up the bomb for Zach Henry to chase. Wooten It's gone backwards off the hands of Henry, and there's a chance here for the Tigers to go. Straightening up there was Charlie Clare. And sweep it to the right. McPhillips to Henry, and Matt Scott gets the fen going. Pops it up to Zach Henry. Squirm his way free on the far side. First time Tigers have been inside this Connacht 22 with ball in hand. McPhillips is standing deep. There are numbers here, but the pass doesn't quite go to hand at the first time of asking. Wallace recovered well. Moroni gets it from his big Argentine pal, Lavanini. This is better from Leicester, and that's a fantastic line from Jasper Wiese.
Advantage tackle entry number 2.
They have the penalty up their sleeve should they need it. Martin. Good, strong, high stepping angles being cut by these forwards. McPhillips, the Connacht's blitzers are up fast, but it's come to Matt Scott. And Potter's lurking out there. He's going to have to bake a cake with crumbs. And Adam Jones has seen enough.
We're coming back. Tackle entry, never fully back around.
Jack Carty did really well there, shooting out the line. It was a bit of a risk, but he got the reward because he frustrated the attacker and he forced him to spill the ball. Some really big carries there from the Leicester forwards in Wiese and Martin in the build-up
to compete for the ball.
Yeah, Jack Carty's taking some heavy fire from Jasper Wiese in these opening 10 minutes or so.
This is going to be a big test for Connacht now, because back in December against Racing, this was an area they certainly came up short. The Racing 92 maul got really on top of the Connacht maul, so I think this has been a big area to work on going forward since that game. So a big test coming up here.
Well, Leicester have scored a third of their 41 tries this season from mauls, and they will back their set piece and back that huge, monstrous juggernaut of a pack to whirl and tornado its way over, which it does. It's try time Leicester again, and it's the banker that delivers, and it looks like Charlie Clare has his second in as many games.
Yeah, and we spoke about it before game. We referred to that Racing 92 game in December, and you know, it was a great set by Leicester. You know, they win the ball. Connacht decide not to compete. They stay down, so they've got more bodies to hit it, but it's really well executed by Leicester. They stay strong at the front. They stay square. They get the pump on going forward, and they just can't contain it. And Charlie Clare ends up going over and scoring. So that's, you know, after a really positive start for Connacht, that's a really disappointing try to concede.
I think it paints a picture of what the rest of the game is going to look like. Connacht trying to find space out wide down the blind side. Leicester looking for that line out again, and the territory. There was a point there, wasn't there, where it just span round to the right. Looked like Clare thought about breaking out, but the patience saw him through. Really good finish.
4 minutes after going behind, Zach Henry to nudge the Tigers in front, but he too is wayward off the tee, pushes it across, and we're all square at 5 points apiece with 13 plays.
Yeah, you've literally got a split second from when that catcher catches the ball, when his 2 feet hit the ground. You've got literally a split second to absolutely obliterate it and kill it at source. If you don't, it's very hard to stop it without giving a penalty away.
Well, perhaps that is the game in microcosm, the set-piece power of Tigers and the elan of Connacht.
First from 11, black, then from green,
just
scrum, green ball.
Come off the fingertips of the experienced Matt Healy. So Tigers will have the scrum inside their own 22.
No relation.
Different spelling.
Here's the mark then.
Still not related.
Better height from the 6 of us. Better height.
Yeah, Pro 12 winner in 2016, Matt Healy, won an Ireland cap that year too. Very, very wily customer. He's too short of 150 appearances for the province.
Yeah, 3 of these Connacht players named in that Guinness Pro 14 Team of the Year: Gav Thornbury, Jack Carty and Alex Wootton.
It's already emerging as a key battleground
Okay, let's use.
in the Welford mud. And Wiese just flips it away to Youngs.
We're inside.
And that is a clean exit from Leicester Tigers. Torch keeps it in. And back down she goes. Youngs once more, who held this position from the first kick. And we're going to have a little bit of aerial jousting here in the East Midlands. This is Healy. Again, he's putting it down the tram lines. This is Henry.
Hold it for Greens.
Handy left boot does Zach Henry. Porch. The cry is middle from the Connacht supporting bench, and Wooten trying to run the arc, giving O'Brien a difficult ball to deal with. Maroney all over him like an advanced rash, and the Tigers are going to steal this one. And that's a fantastic turnover, and suddenly it's opened right up for Guy Porter, his first Tigers try. He's there. Porter, a bolt from the blue, and Leicester Tigers have turned this game on its head.
It's a brilliant finish from Porter, but I think they need to check the ruck. I'm not sure they came from the correct side. I think it was Maroney or Scott. Does Scott come round? Yeah, I suppose he does. That's okay. On first view, and it looked like he came from the side, but it's good. The turnover is excellent from Scott, and then he just goes straight through the middle and accelerates away to the corner. It's very loose. That's where Connacht have got to be careful. If they're going to go wide like that, they've got to put enough people into the ruck.
Yeah, the ruck was definitely under-resourced by Connacht. Kind of caught him off guard. Dave Heffernan, kind of a rabbit in the headlights there. Didn't really see it coming, but a lovely finish.
Yeah, that will be a special moment for Guy Porter. 15th game for the Tigers, and his first try since arriving here in England. And a tricky conversion attempt for Zach Henry. He's nudged the first one to the left. That is a much sweeter strike. It flirts with the left hand upright, but it creeps in, and it's a 7-point lead. And perhaps, just perhaps, beneath that Leicester Tigers branded snood, Steve Borthwick will be cracking a smile. You're not convinced, those?
Well, it was a backs try, wasn't it? So.
He's restarts from Cartier, causing some issues for Leicester Tigers. It's Joe Hayes who rescues it for the hosts.
No.
Youngs moves to the skies. Here's Porch.
Ran into him.
No foul play there. John Porch is down, injured. He was caught late after kicking that, but Adam Jones is happy that it was legal, and a counter could be on for Tigers. Henry goes to the skies instead and lands it on the Connacht danger man, Alex Wooten. Met by Scots, and they want to set up the maul. Wooten's let it go free, but instead it's come back in the hands of Matthias Maroney. But
just forward on the floor from Green.
There was a little knock on.
Yeah.
Austin, you've got something to show us.
Well, you say Watton's a danger man. That's 2 occasions where he's been more dangerous for his own team, to be quite frank. And if you look back to the try, it's a prime example of it.
Okay?
You find yourself in the backfield with all of your support in front of you. What you can't do is get caught in possession. As you can see here, he decides to run forward, then a little bit sideways. The Leicester defence read it. Scott gets on the tackle, but look at all those guys in front of him. If you get caught in the backfield like that with no one behind you, you're going to get turned over. You can't resource the ruck anyway. They clear out past the ball. Scott goes over the top. They get the turnover and run in for the 5.
Yeah, we're just checking.
He may be the danger man, but at the minute he's a danger man for Leicester.
Yeah, and then he gets himself into trouble again afterwards as well. Gets held up and the ball briefed.
We've all checked, there's nothing in it. Scrum.
What are your thoughts on this, Mike? The officials are quite happy that there's no illegality there. John Porch is being forced off for head injury assessment.
Yeah, you've got to be so careful as anyone, because they can go 50-50. It's the responsibility to make sure that player, there's no collision to the head, and you've got to really look at. We saw one yesterday.
To be fair though, when you jump in the air like Martin does there, the only person that I know that can move their body position in the air is Yoda, or a Jedi, and I don't think he's a Jedi. He was everywhere, wherever he wanted.
Yeah, Peter Sullivan is on for John Porch while he goes for a head injury assessment. And meanwhile, Connacht have a scrum to deal with, and deal with it they have.
Yeah, certainly an area that Connacht are getting on top of is a scrum. Leicester are getting on top of the maul, but Connacht are certainly getting on top of the scrum time. Chance to get some field position here.
Yeah, Carty with his footballing background, his GA background as well. And just nudge this one into the Leicester 22. He's found a useful touch. What are your thoughts on this one, Mike? Is that the right call against Luan de Bruin?
Yeah, it looks like he's coming in on the angle. You know, he's not scrummaging straight. His hips aren't square. He's driving in towards the hooker.
Yeah, he is a tight head by trade. He does play at loose head as well, but he's signed for Edinburgh next season, and they are looking at him as a tight head primarily. And he's up against Finlay Bealham, who's a very strong scrummaging prop. Now then, what can Connacht produce here? First job is to win the line-out. They haven't done it. And away from Porter.
There's no advantage. It's knocked on from Green in the line-out. Scrum. From Black in the line-out. Scrum, Green ball.
How frustrating will that be for Andy Frown? Like, twice they've been down there and they've not left with a try.
Yeah, you've got to take your opportunities. You don't get that many opportunities to attack from there, but you know, Leicester do really well competing, getting up in the air, getting up in front of Gav Thornbury and winning the ball back. So that was great work from Leicester.
It's good from Henderson, isn't it, actually? The throw's a little bit low and he just gets his hand in front, takes the ball early. A lot of the time you see 2 second rows jumping, their arms collide and you end up with a penalty. So it's clever play.
Crouch. Bind. Set. Use it.
Youngs digs it out. And he wants Matt Scott to gobble up the yards for him. There's Clare, the try scorer.
Use it.
Leicester will be quite happy just to manoeuvre a better angle for Youngs to make that clearing kick. And pressure on Peter Sullivan. First touch for the replacement back 3-man, and he's melted by George Martin in Marmion sniping. Wooten gets the fend, but he's just stuck on his backside by a snarling terrier that is Luke Wallace. Boyle, a line from Heffernan, but he was lined up too. The power game of Tigers is telling, but what a sneaky break from Boyle. He's got men on his shoulder, might not need them, he's just hauled down. Still alive for O'Brien. Wooten took the shoulder, thundered into contact. It's a free play for the visitors. Paul Boyle gets another touch, and
no advantage. Number 7.
Bealham spills.
This player here. Number 7.
That was hear-em, scare-em stuff started by the Connacht skipper.
I was just about to say what a hit from Lavanini, and then Paul Boyle thought really quickly, picked up the ball and made a lovely line break.
Yeah, he just drops off, Henderson, doesn't he? Doesn't get in behind the ruck. Visa runs a little bit far on the far side. And there's the high tackle. And that's harsh, isn't it?
Happy on this, Mark, thank you.
Yeah, shoulder collision with the face.
Yeah, it's an infringement that we would not have seen picked up a few years ago, but the head is sacrosanct in today's game. So important to protect the brains of the players. Jack Carty will line up a three-pointer. You might have heard in the background Paul Boyle just asking Adam Jones, just planting the seed, was that not a shoulder to the head, he asked. Adam Jones has dismissed them. Carty to cut the gap to 4. And he's absolutely thumped that one into the stands. And Connacht are back within a score of taking the leads. And as the players trot back, it's a prime opportunity to get the thoughts of the Connacht forwards coach, Jimmy Duffy. Jimmy, it's been a really tight battle at the set piece. You must be pleased with how things are going at the scrum, slightly less so with the line-outs.
Yeah, I look very happy. Obviously, we just lost that one here on the 22, but we managed to get some possession there to get us a bit of points back on the board. But yeah, look, we've had 3 penalties from 4 on the scrum, so we're just going to try and capitalise on that and turn that into our advantage throughout the game.
What will be the key to victory this evening? It looked like a clash of styles coming into it. It's not necessarily played out that way.
No, not at all. I think in the first couple of minutes here we've had a game of kick tennis, and I think whoever's thrown in the tower first and actually tried to run the ball back has paid the price, you know. So we've gone to the corner there and conceded, and likewise they have as well. So it's about sticking with the, I suppose, patience and playing those opportunities when they're right.
Okay, Jimmy, thanks very much for your time. You've got a game to watch, so we'll let you get back to it. In the meantime, Luan de Bruin, South African, is halted. It's Joe Hayes trying this hand at being a scrum half. Youngs to George Martin. Still just 19 years old. Making his England debut against Ireland. It's a good kick from Youngs. It's chasing Carty all the way back. It's a fabulous touch finder from the Tigers captain.
It's a cracking kick. He just got bumped out the previous ruck. Steps back, spots the space. Second bounce is a perler. Just gets that roll going. And now they get the chance again. Although Connacht, it looks like they've gone to a two-man.
Well, they've gone right over the top. And it is Paul Boyle who's making a captain's contribution so far.
Wait, go back, go back!
Charging into every contact. And Carty, but
Offside.
Tigers are offside, and it is a very, very easy exit from a Connacht point of view. Very frustrating one for the Tigers.
Yeah, that's a coach's pet hate, you know, when you give one of those penalties away, when you've got really good field position, you know, you're down in their half, and then you give a, you know, penalty away for being offside or a silly penalty, and it just relieves the pressure and gives Connacht, you know, field position and a chance to attack now.
If you were Connacht here, Austin, what would you be looking to do off this line? Would you be looking to test Zach Henry, or would you want to release one of your big strike runners?
Well, I'd probably test down the 12 channel. That's where they've had their most benefit. Carry hard, cut an angle, and then try and go through the middle of that ruck. When they've gone wide, they've put themselves under a lot of pressure so far.
Well, Thornbury it is who rises highest. Carty to O'Brien, and sweeping around they come through Matt Healy. It's a big yardage gain from Connacht. O'Brien goes into play scrum half. Carty, it's loose, but another penalty.
Deliberate knock on.
And that takes the penalty count to 5 conceded by Leicester Tigers. And it's a pretty cynical one from Thomas Lavallini.
Yeah, and it's 100% yellow card. There's no question about it. He's not made an attempt at all to catch the ball. He needs 10 minutes, but it's not been given.
Yeah, he is the most carded player in Argentina in Test rugby history, Thomas Lavallini.
And that is 2 daft penalties in a row. You know, we just saw the one there before, and then another one backing up a silly penalty with a silly penalty.
If he puts his other hand up, he catches that, and he goes under the posts. Huge risk leading with just one hand, because he reads it really well and gets there early, but keeps his right hand in his pocket.
Delan is the target. And spinning away they come with Daly. Marmion, Carty with the inside ball, bringing in Matt Healy off his wing. They're up in the tempo now as Marmion sends it into Conor Oliver, the open side flanker. Marmion once more to Daly. A great big horse of an inside centre. Heffernan. And it's Connacht's power game now. It is hurting the Tigers around the fringes. Beelan, Carty, it's gorgeous handling. And out there is O'Brien once more. Forced it a bit.
Number 2, Green, it's late and with no arms. You've just had a little warning, as I spoke to. Number 2.
And Adam Jones' patience
I've just given you a warning for the number of penalties
finally expired.
It's late and with no arms.
The penalty count not so much rising as soaring. And Charlie Clare, late hit, no arms, yellow card.
Number 2.
It's lovely attack from Connacht though, isn't it? Playing with a real width, expansive game. Some lovely offloads and handling. Stretching that Leicester defence and putting them under pressure.
Captain. It's late with no arms.
If you're Steve Borthwick, Austin, how frustrating an infringement is that?
Thank you very much.
Well, I think all
late and no arms.
Penalties like that are frustrating. I think what will be frustrating Borthwick more than anything else is that Leicester are conceding the tackle line quite a bit. They're losing the gain line on the carries. We saw Connacht going wide. They made, what, 30 metres without anyone putting a hit on. So they're the areas I think they'll look for improvement in the short term. But, you know, they're 4 points ahead. They haven't had much ball. It's not all bad.
Yeah, they conceded 14 penalties against the Falcons last weekend to the Leicester Tigers. There is young Joe Hayes, a real prospect, the tight head prop. You can see the discipline has been a bit of a problem for Leicester this campaign. It's not been an area of strength, and as we see so often,
we going for touch?
Penalty follows penalty, and suddenly
Leicester, we ready? And I'll put time 22. Back on, okay? When we're all set. Yeah. Time back on.
Carty's going to nudge this one into the corner. right call, do you feel, Mark?
Just give them the numbers a
I
little
think so,
bit,
yeah,
they can
definitely.
react.
You know, really important they come away with a score here. You know, take this opportunity of the field position. You know, go to something simple, win the line-up, put the pressure on, and get their driving maul going.
Well, here we go, a massive opportunity for Connacht to turn the screw, to make their man advantage count. And here they come, assembling the bruisers for a raid at the line. Ravanini is ordered back, as the Tigers have stemmed the bleeding so far. And Heffernan just assessing his options at the base. Marmion hits Daly. It's gone loose, and suddenly it has been scooped up, and the Tigers could be galloping all the way. Can Connacht get back in time? Porter gives it on to Matthias Moroni. Wooden chasing furiously. They will not catch him. Take a bow, Matthias Moroni, and the Tigers down to 14 men. Pounce from coast to coast.
Yeah, hugely disappointing from a Connacht perspective. They had the field position, they had the chance to set up a maul. It just didn't seem to be going forward. And completely against the run of play. Good pressure from the defensive line, getting up in the Connacht ball carriers' faces, forced the mistake from Carty, and great wheels to get there.
Yes, Moroni reading the play really well. He puts pressure on Carty, who pulls out of the catch and pulls out the tackle. And then when they do the analysis on Monday, I'm pretty sure that the lads will get stuck into Porter about carrying that fridge. Moroni had the gas, though, to finish it off. They laugh about it now.
But it's great defence from Leicester of the maul. They got them going backwards. They weren't going forward at all, and that allowed the Leicester backs to come up really hard and put that pressure on Carty.
Carty pulled out, though, didn't he?
I think, yeah.
He took his eyes off the ball, then he backed out. If you see him coming like that, the very least you've got to do is take the ball.
Yeah, take the ball and take the pain. Pesky flag. It's disrupting Zach Henry's run-up. I wonder if our sign microphone will do likewise. You can hear his knees creaking through our touchline effects mic. And he's had one from the left touchline. One from the right, and he's just swerved it a little bit too narrow. But Matthias Moroni's first Tigers try, yeah. Boy, was it a belter.
He's highlighted here. Often you can drift here, but he has just come straight forward. Carty sees that. He's got loads of time to take it, but fair play to Porter. He reacts really quickly, a lot quicker than he ran the last 30 metres of that.
Yeah, Alex Wooten was hunting him down, but hunting in vain. Moroni on the shoulder, and the Tigers 3 tries to 1. Connacht, they're all to do once more. Here's John Porch, who has passed his head injury assessment. And he's hoofed it into touch, but that is another big yardage gain for the Tigers.
Yeah, I just feel with Leicester missing some key players in the forwards there. Ellis Genge, Dan Cole, Callum Green they're missing. You know, it's really an area that Connacht should be getting on top of. You know, that opportunity to drive a maul there, 5 metres out from their line, they should be going forward. They should be getting something from it, whether it be a penalty or a bit of go forward. So, you know, certainly an area to work on going into the second half.
I think Charlie Clare was pretending he couldn't adjust the seat to the right height to avoid some sin-bin walk biking. But there is some conjecture over who's going to have to take this line out for them. Luke Wallace's throw. Well, it's worked after a fashion. Open side flanker recovers his own bouncing throw-in, and Viesa bouncing through the tackles. Youngs had picked that up, so Thornbury was entitled to pick him up. And he's driven forward. And the Tigers have the momentum. They may be down a man, but they are up on the scoreboard. They're up in the impetus stakes as well. The Brine. Onside. Youngs. McPhillips will ask Potter and Scott and Moroni to get after it. Moroni's up there, it's bounced back for Potter. Slips it to Henry. Henry with the dummy. The slalom and the try for Zach Henry. Tigers are roaring to victory here. So ruthless. And Zach Henry with the show and the go and the dive and the splash over the line. And Leicester have a 4th try.
They're just mixing it up, aren't they? Loads of good pressure. McPhillips puts the kick absolutely on the money. Look at the hang time. So congested in the catch area, and then react. Lovely piece of magic from Potter out the back. And then a step and a go.
He couldn't help it.
And then a step and a go from Henry. Throws a dummy back off the right, off the left. That's a cracking finish.
Great kick by McPhillips as well. Serious hang time on that, and it's his first start in 10 games. So, you know, lovely bit of play.
Yeah, they do have an awful lot of kicking options, the Tigers. George Ford was excellent last weekend against Newcastle. 16 points, some devilish spiral bombs. They've got this man Henry as well. And after his first Tigers try, they look to make it a 7-point score. And it's swerving rounds, but it's holding its line enough. And Henry adds the extras. And suddenly it's Leicester 24, Connacht 8.
I said before the game how important the backfield was going to be. We've seen 3 tries created for Leicester by applying tons of pressure on the Connacht back 3.
Yeah, Connacht now 3 scores behind as Lavanini fights and grapples his way into the heart of the Connacht pack. Don't we love our maul on the ground? And, well, there's heads being rubbed, there's jerseys being pulled, there's sweat and the blood's flying. And that one's awkward. Ports has left it. Porter's picked it up. Just couldn't find Moroni. It's bedlam every time Leicester stick a high ball up. But now it's O'Brien barreling his way clear. There are numbers on the right if they move it. Wooten came short. It's still on if they come this way. Carty drops it onto the boot for Boyle to chase. In fact, it was Conor Oliver. And if they put that through the hands, well, who knows?
Yeah, real let-off there for Connacht. Porch just couldn't take it. We didn't attempt to take it.
There was a brilliant tackle from McPhillips in this.
Lads, you read your warning? It's a free kick next time.
Because the transition from O'Brien's fantastic, but if he gets to the outside of Wallace there, he's away, there's no one in front of him. But look at McPhillips from behind, brings him down.
Yeah,
he does. If that work rate not there, he's going the length.
Luke Wallace is 2 from 2 as a makeshift hooker. What a fabulous record. Here is Viesa. 2 minutes left on that Clare sin binning. Well, Leicester Tigers have scored 2 tries whilst their hooker's been off. Haven't lost the line out either. Oliver. Marmion. Carty. Space for Connacht, and with the kind of team that do try to take advantage of it. Daly. Powerful burst, typically so from John Daly. Boyle, Carty. Charging through was Utan Delan. Carty again. Now Heffernan. Smashes into Matt Scott, but the Scottish centre does enough. Good counter-ruck again from the Tigers.
Let it go now, Green lost.
Just unable to win the turnover.
Black.
Carty, Delan, Daly. Good shot tackle. And Harry Potter on Sean O'Brien, and that was crucial. Forward they come again through Masterson. Boyle ordered out the way. Carty, good flat ball to Heffernan. Smashed by Jasper Viesa. Boyle once more, who is fairly racking up the carries.
6.
And eventually the kick has to come. And it's not a great one. Henry all over it. And he will test Matt Healy. Ask the Ireland International to respond. Here's Harry Potter. Out it goes from the England-born Australian reared winger. Good feet from John Porch, an Australian Sevens international himself. Marmion goes blind, and Daly running into all sorts of trouble. Here's Beelum. It's the mess of hair and fury is Finlay Beelum. And that will be a penalty for not rolling away.
I'm not sure how you can roll away if you're at the bottom of the ruck.
You need to roll away quicker.
Really well worked from Connacht, that though. Worked the penalty. They knew they were doing it. He's actually on his own side, Visa. But no scrums in 10 minutes. Front five are going to be a little bit tired.
Yeah, Finlay Beelum gasping for a bit of air there.
Thank you.
To within, what, 10 metres of the Tigers line.
Yeah, this is where Connacht forwards really need to step up. You know, the last maul at this position, they didn't get any traction, they didn't get any go forward. So they'll certainly be looking to get some go forward here. Score a maul try of their own.
You'd run a peel, wouldn't you, after the last maul? Or a shift drive. Or they're going to go have another go.
Straight drive.
Boyle, the recipient, and again they're going toe-to-toe with the Tigers behemoths, who so far are standing up to the challenge.
Number 6.
Now they're starting to work it, and Marmion sniping and hitting for the corner, just caught short. Heffernan burrows in. Carty plays scrum half. Thornbury. And it's going to be pick and drive from Finlay Beelum. Tight head prop. They'll have the penalty should they need it. They will want more. They will want 7 points instead of 3. Marmion goes blind and Healy spills.
Oh, it's a cracking hit from Ben Youngs.
On me if you want.
I think the penalty's against Lavanini for diving along the floor with no arms. He really hasn't got any self-preservation about him at all, Lavanini, has he?
It's a bit of a kamikaze second row, Thomas Lavanini. Oh my goodness. He's missed everything as well.
Get yourself in trouble there, not wrapping the arms.
Well, not only in terms of discipline, but also in your own personal safety.
Own noggin.
Taken by Owen Masterson. And there's Connacht's magnet in the air, but look at the drive from Leicester, and Heffernan is scragged by Cameron Henderson. And Connacht's maul is stymied once more. They're going to have to do it the hard way. Oliver, Thornbury, and Masterson alongside him. Buckley just rides the tackle of Hayes. Connacht having to work so hard to keep the ball and make these yards. Delan gets them going forward. Masterson pumping those legs. Marmion, round the corner comes Heffernan. This is better from the Irish province. Marmion waits. Oliver digs himself clear of one tackle, but the Tigers' defence is ferocious. Now it might come for Delan, but he is sent tumbling back from whence he came. Marmion again to Daly, trying to free those hands. Barrels up to within 5 metres of the line. The phases are mounting. And there's a Tigers hand in that ruck. And with the clock red, Connacht will have one last chance at the try line.
I think they're going to have to tap and go, but they've got to be careful here. What are they going to go for? Tap and go. You can't bind early. We saw a penalty here last week against Leicester. It looks like they're just in discussion.
Captain,
yeah, they're going to have to change this maul up. You can't just drive straight. They've tried it 2 or 3 times now, winning the ball and just trying to drive straight. So,
you know, for the scrum here.
That is an area they have been on top. So, you know, good decision. It's really important. Connacht come away with something here just before half-time. Otherwise, mentally going into the sheds at half-time, it's going to be very disappointing.
And these are huge moments for Connacht and their Challenge Cup hopes. Newcastle Falcons at home for the winners of this in the quarter-finals.
Bind. Set.
Feel Connacht really need to leave here with points. As Jimmy Duffy watches on.
Adam, Black needs to engage and be stable, and then Leicester can't then push through the mark.
Okay. Too much movement. We need to take the hit and be stable. And we need to not push over the mark, okay? Keep the weight off.
Well, naughty schoolboys, the front rows are duly scolded.
So take the weight and don't push through the mark.
6 times 20 stones of unruly pupils. And De Bruyne
Crouch.
will be feeling the squeeze from Finlay Beelum.
Set. Better picture, that's good.
And Connacht end this half with a flourish. You feel they really have to. Boyle. Oh, it's loose. There's all kinds of skullduggery going on at the base of that scrum. Oliver protects. Masterson, he's hit hard by George Martin, who's been excellent so far. Arming into Heffernan. And Conor Oliver carries further. And Youngs has got his paws on that.
Yeah, he's recognised that Connacht are only putting one guy over the top of the carry, so they're not really... Look, there's only two guys in the ruck there, easy to counter and put pressure on.
One of them was a scrum half.
Beelum, and they're after going backwards.
He's got it
and
now.
Ben Young.
Stay out.
Has he turned that? Not quite. Thornbury somehow comes away with it, runs into the referee. This breakdown tussle is remarkably tightly contested. Running in on the short line came Masterson, and he was smashed. Beelum, he's sent backwards too. Fearsome defence from the Tigers. They've got a penalty coming now, Connacht. Can they conjure something? Can they produce a moment of inspiration? Not right now.
9 side entry. Time off a sec.
Apart from the penalty, that is great defence by Leicester. You know, they're really getting go forward.
We're now getting
killing the momentum of the ball carrier for Connacht.
And the player on the far side. Discipline needs to improve again, otherwise you will leave me no option. I'll put someone else in the bin, okay?
Time's off for this here.
Down. Have a word, please.
I'd listen to the ref and I'd actually keep playing. I wouldn't take the 3. I'd keep applying the pressure now. You know, what's 3 going to do to the scoreboard? Not a great deal. They're a long way behind. They need 7. And if they could start the second half with 10 minutes advantage against 14 players, it would be massive psychologically, but they've gone for goal. I think it's the wrong decision.
The Andy Friend looking a little bit concerned, peering out from between beanie and mask. As you saw there at the top left of your screen, 10 penalties conceded by Leicester Tigers.
We've got players everywhere, okay?
Just one shipped by Connacht.
Yeah, they're going for the post.
None of that will matter though.
We've got players everywhere, okay?
Looking at the scoreline.
Yeah, most teams are looking to give 10 penalties or less away in a whole game, let alone one half.
Yeah, Jasper Wiese looks like has got rid of a cut on his buzz-cutted bonds. What a signing he's been. You'd have to say he's been the standout acquisition this season for Leicester Tigers. Just the 46 metres made with ball in hand last weekend, which by his standards isn't that much. 14 carries, 35 defenders beaten this season.
Yeah, it gives incredible momentum for the team with his go forward, and it makes it very difficult for defences to get any kind of go forward after he's carried. Normally draws in two or three defenders every time he carries.
Well, Jack Carty has the relatively simple task of knocking over that penalty and drags Connacht off the canvas. They've been overpowered, they've been bamboozled with the aerial prowess of Leicester Tigers, and they trail here at Welford Road by 24 points to 11.
It's been exciting.
I'm told I'm here as well, Hugo. Yes, absolutely
I'm really
delighted.
happy you were here. Andy Friend before the game spoke about work rate. At the moment, it seems to be that it's Leicester's work rate that is getting them potentially the bounce of the ball. They're working hard for it, aren't they?
I think Andy Friend was saying, look, but for the bounce of the ball, we wouldn't have conceded 2 tries. But I do think Leicester are applying a lot more pressure. We've got to give them a lot more credit, particularly in the backfield. You know, the Zach Henry try that we saw was an excellent example of that. It's a really good kick from McPhillips. And you just look at how many players are in the catch area. There's 6 defenders there from Connacht. And then who reacts quickest? Again, Leicester react quicker. And Potter puts a magical pass out the back of the hand, and 2 fantastic feet from Zach Henry takes him over from the try. But this has been the story, really. The backfield, the back 3 of Connacht have put their own side under a lot of pressure. You take that, you take a mark, you clear your lines. That's how you're supposed to do it.
Well, before the game, you're talking about the backfield pressure, that potential on Leicester Tigers, but Zach Henry scoring his first try today, and Steve Borthwick, he's gone and rolled the dice, but young fellas are really stepping up, aren't they?
Yeah, Maroney scoring his first try. Again, Porter reacting really quickly. I think defensively they've been excellent. You know, this is how you really do transition. You put pressure on in the midfield. Carty, for me, backs out of that. And then as he breaks through here, Porter, you think he's going to go the length. But there's just such a good chase on the backfield by Wootton. And off he goes to Maroney, scores in the corner. You know, at this point you thought, this is a really good attacking opportunity from Connacht. And they just, again, it was a forced error and Leicester react a lot quicker. So Connacht have got to come out in this second half and stop those unforced errors, try and get themselves going forward. They've made a lot of ground by going wide, and if they do that again, you know, in the second half, they'll have loads of opportunity to attack. But I think the Leicester's defence in the forward pack has been excellent. They've been dropping people in the midfield.
Yeah, they certainly have. They've been very good for it. Lots for Andy Friend to get his head around. Leicester Tigers in full control at the first half. It's been physical. There's been plenty of tries to Leicester Tigers. And of course, we'll be expecting more of that in the second half, just after this short break. Commentary team, starting with you. Jamie Lyle, take it away.
Thank you very much, Hugo. It was a commanding, power-laden first-half performance by the Leicester Tigers. And now 40 Challenge Cup minutes to decide who will advance to the quarter-finals. Newcastle Falcons lying in wait for Leicester or for Connacht. And at the moment, it's the home sides who are very much in the driver's seat.
Right now, black ball then. Same standard. Back we go then.
And then it hasn't been an area of massive strength for Connacht this evening. Heffernan this time hits Owen Masterson. And then Daly. And it's Paul Boyle now. There's a lot of the heavy duty carrying. Connacht skipper Marmion. Here's Tom Daly into Sean O'Brien, who set up that Kieran Marmion try what feels like a very, very long time ago now. It's a good line from Oliver. Beelan goes in to protect. Connacht, you sense, with a big start to the second half. Need to unleash some of their attacking weaponry. 56 tries in the Guinness Pro 14 this season. Only scored one tonight. Haven't made the most of their field position. Haven't made the most of their chances. And Leicester Tigers certainly have taken theirs. Here's Porch. Good step from the Connacht fullback past Martin. Marmion. Carty again. He's had a very astute short kicking game, but McPhillips covers back well. Here he is again. Connacht's record point scorer. This time there is some space. That one just screwing infield. And Porter, space to clear himself. And this is a real tactical duel. Who will blink first? Who will run it back? Sean Porch has a crack. It's well defended by McPhillips. Carty. Buckley dynamited in the tackle. Marmion. There's a chance there if he shipped it on a little bit further. Very close to a turnover from Luke Wallace. Tigers' defence has been impressive, but the discipline has not. Another advantage to Connacht. Paul Boyle just
number 6 and number 5 offside.
As they act as human shields, and that is penalty number 11 conceded by the Leicester Tigers.
Yeah, again another penalty, but Leicester's defence is ferocious. They've got a solid line every time they're getting go forward. They've got good spacings, and you know that third defender out is really leading the lineup, and you know they're executing their tackles and stopping this Connacht momentum. And it's very frustrating for Connacht because they've come out the blocks. They've thrown the kitchen sink tried to throw the kitchen sink at Leicester there, and they're just getting no traction. They're getting no go forward. They're getting knocked back into their own half.
How important is momentum, do you feel like? Connacht had second place in Guinness Pro 14 conference, wrapped up for some time. They've lost their past 3 matches. Leicester have won 4 of their past 5. They lost, twice at home all season in 10 games. Despite the changes they've made, is momentum telling for these games?
Momentum's obviously massive. It's what it makes the game easy to play off. When Jasper Wiese carries, he drags in 2 or 3 defenders, and that narrows the defence up, creates space out in those wider channels. So, you know, you've got to get your ball carriers winning those inches, getting over the gain line continuously, and then it makes the game much easier for everyone else.
Here's Conor Oliver and Shane Daly. Tom Daly, beg your pardon.
That's a good carry from Daly.
Yards, and now Marmion sniping around the fringes. Thornbury, Beelum. To suck in some more defenders. Tigers not committing much to the ruck, but the fringe is unguarded, and Masterson goes thundering through a gaping hole. A gigantic chasm opened up around that breakdown, and Owen Masterson gleefully trotted through it to bring Connacht right back into this contest.
And we were just talking about momentum, and where did that try come from? Tom Daly hitting a line, getting over the gain line. Look at this. Really good carry, yards after contact. Doesn't look like much, but it makes a huge difference. A great clear out from the forwards and identifies the space there. A little pick and go, and it's a great finish. Back in the game.
Yeah, and then Zach Henry decides to take fresh air as the last line of defence, which was a fascinating attempt at a tackle. But you just got to get in behind the ball. You know, this is where they've wanted to attack. Look, there's no guard there on the right-hand side. George Martin's way too far away. He's 5 metres away from the side of the ruck, and it's an easy run through the middle.
It's the second time that's happened, Austin. We saw it with Paul Boyle in the first half as well.
And you know that that's how they like to play. So either get your 9 in behind the ball, but if you are there, as Zach Henry was, at least try and tackle someone.
And as a front 5 forward, that's part of your bread and butter at a breakdown. You know, you set those pillars either side of the ruck first. It's the first job to make sure, you know, stop that 9 sniping or stop a pick and go through the middle of the ruck.
Big try from Owen Masterson, converted by Jack Carty. Masterson's first try for the province in September 2019. And how important could that be?
We're inside.
Back within a score. Carty blasts one down the middle. Here is Zach Henry, scorer of the 4th try for Leicester Tigers. He stuck one up on Porch, who beats him so cleverly. Look at this from John Porch, and he's going to be far too fast for Lavanini. Great committing run there, and then the offload into Heffernan. Martin covering back. Connacht want to get the tempo up. They want to increase the pace of this game, move that big Tigers pack around, but that is a smashing hit coming in. I think from Jasper Wiese on Thornbury. Marmion, Delan steals another yard or so.
Looks like Wiese's given himself a stinger. He's carrying his left arm low.
Oh, Daly just bulldozes poor Johnny McPhillips. The punishment being dished out as Carty stabs through, and O'Brien speeding after it, but it's coolly done by Guy Porter. He's having his shirt removed. As you can see, you don't get much of a tan in Leicester at this time of year. Here's George Martin.
Says the man from Glasgow.
I'm from even further north than that, Austin, but that's a conversation for another broadcast, perhaps.
Use it.
There's a reason I'm not in front of the camera. Anyway, back to the action. Ben Youngs, the master of the box kick, drops her on the Connacht back 3. Here is Healy. Kick chase is decent enough from the Tigers. Thornbury. Carty introduces Beelum. Here's Delan. He is a man that Connacht will look to, and I tell you what, he's sent Lavanini scuttling away backwards, and Lavanini's in a bit of trouble here. I think his boots come off. And Leicester through Hayes with a massive hit. Carty chasing Ben Youngs all the way back, and that will do very nicely from a Connacht point of view. The physicality of this game has just kicked up a few notches in the last couple of phases.
Yeah, they've come out, haven't they, with different intent. Connacht, they're carrying really well, changing their angles. There's the hit from Wiese.
Massive carry from Alton Delan. Here it is. You know, that's against Lavanini. He's a big physical man. We saw Alton Delan do that against Racing 92 in December in that Champions Cup game. He's so explosive, so dynamic. Gets over the gain line. Really good carry from Alton Delan there.
Yeah, that's the last act, in fact, for Thomas Lavanini. There is the colossal Argentine international heading for Clermont at the end of the season and heading for the touchline now. So on comes Harry Wells. It'll be hard to spot with his beard and his flamboyant curly hair. And perhaps more poignantly, a debut for Will Hurd, a recent arrival from the Glasgow Academy. 21-year-old tight head prop is on for Joe Hayes. And that one's loose over the top, but
that's an escape, isn't it?
F1 in spills.
If he takes that, there's nobody in front of him. He walks over. Worst nightmare for Clare. Slight overthrow. 5 metres from your own line. If he takes that, you're not stopping him from 5. Maybe Wallace might have given it a good shot.
Right, let's go, Will. Good height now. Let's take the hit.
Agonisingly through the fingertips of the...
Luke Wallace was 2 from 2, wasn't he?
They're swapping him.
Yeah, send for Luke Wallace again.
Let's go.
We're going to start a new trend of flankers converting to hooker.
Bind. Set. Good picture, you two keep working.
Really important set piece for Leicester Tigers. It does buckle, but Wiese comes steering his way off the base.
Before the jackal is allowed on the ball.
The penalty comes for Tigers.
Before the jackal comes onto the ball.
He's just so good at that, isn't he? Look how he picks it up from the base, picks it up wide with his left hand, but still manages to get into channel 2. Almost channel 3, so he gets outside quickly, the flanker.
Yeah, it's only his 6th carry of the evening, Jasper Wiese, but in defence he's been huge. 12 tackles put in, and several of them you reckon will be dominant.
You see that, he picks it up with his left hand, so even though the ball hasn't been moved over to the right-hand side of the scrum, he enables his body to have a metre head start. It's clever play.
Well, let's have a word with the Leicester Tigers assistant coach, Brett Deacon, down pitch side. Brett, Connacht have come out all guns blazing, as you would expect at the start of the second half. How important is it to weather this storm and get your ascendancy back?
Yeah, they've definitely done that. I think field position here is key to get out our half. Discipline was spoken about at half-time around fixing that, so hopefully we'll be a more disciplined team this half and play in the right areas, and then like we did, showed in the first half when we've carried hard at them, we've created chances, so that's the plan.
Do you want to effectively assert more control over this game, not let it break up, not give their strike runners and their X-factor players the chance to cause you problems?
Yeah, definitely. I think firstly we do that through controlling the game, keeping the referee out of the game, and like I said, here now, playing in the right areas, pinning them back in their half. They've started to chase the game, haven't they? So make them play in their own half.
Brett, thanks very much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Cheers, mate.
Just hold checks.
A raft of Connacht substitutions during that little chat with Brett Deacon. Gillen Blade on for Kieran Marmion, and 2 changes in the front row as well, with Heffernan off, Shane Delahunt on, and Dominic Robertson-McCoy on for Finlay Bealham. There is the distinctive curly mesh of Dominic Robertson-McCoy's hair. Now chance for Connacht, but the pass is just a bit sloppy. And there were 3 eager-eyed black-shirted runners outside Matt Healy.
He gets caught in 2 minds here. Wants to throw the long ball over the top. There's loads of time. Maroney steps out the line, and he just needs to throw a longer pass. If he throws it over the top, because Maroney stepped in there, you've just seen on the outside, Potter's had to follow him, which means there's 2 attackers out wide, but God, he gets caught, doesn't he?
Last scrum is really good picture.
Definitely short numbers there. If that ball had gone to
hand,
hand, as you say, there's 2 or 3 attackers out there.
Good picture, really good.
Been impressed with Tom Daly's carry. Goes forward, 1.5 twists, and dives straight in.
Okay.
Terrible.
It's been a long week. It's been a long weekend at rugby. There's been a dead time here in the game, I thought.
You spent more time working on puns than anything else, haven't you?
I did do splash. let's not talk about that.
Yeah, there is Tom Daly. 106 carries in the Guinness Pro 14 this season. Very, very dynamic customer in midfield, all 6'4" of them. The Leinsterman initially, and he kind of lost his way amidst the raft of talent of that particular province.
To be fair, though, he's been to 4 Olympics. Give him a break.
Right, that's enough. I can't take any more. Now here is Jasper Wiese. Youngs, Harry Potter, spacing behind for the chip and chase, but he's just nudged it a little bit too far out on the full. And Connacht will have the line out back from where he kicked it.
got lovely hands as well, Visa. You know, he just doesn't just carry, and we know what he does in the carry. He's dynamic and the go forward he gets, but he's able to, you know, perfectly release a well-timed pass.
First throw of the evening for Shane Delahunt, a farmer by trade back in Ireland with his dad Billy, and here he comes. The Blades, Carty, a tackle coming in from Maroney. Did it come off the Argentine's hand? The officials say no. Blade is caught at the base, but illegally so.
Ruck needs to be played on your feet. Don't dive through. Number 11.
And it's Guy Porter just leaping into the rock.
Just looking at the benches, one man for Connacht that will add a huge amount of impact, Abraham Papa-Aliti. He's a big man. Expect him to come on, some big carries, get Connacht some momentum, some go forward. He's had 2 reds in 9 previous Pro 14 games, so his discipline's been a bit of an issue, but he's a big, powerful man.
Yeah, speaking of power, that's Dominic Robertson-McCoy there in the number 18 jersey. Scored his first try for Connacht against the Scarlets a couple of weeks ago. That's the last time Connacht have played with the Guinness Pro 14 final on in the meantime. He shipped a 21-point lead to go down in Clonethley. Crazy game. That's wonderful work from Harry Wells. That is what Wells is all about. And Youngs have chased Connacht all the way back towards the try line. Wooten under pressure from the kick chase.
Hold Connacht.
And he's extricated himself from trouble pretty well. Now Henry spies some unguarded real estate, which Matt Healy has filled. And he calls for the mark.
His experience there from Ben Youngs, wasn't it? 2 scrum halves, Wigglesworth at 37 as well. Not in the match day squad today. And Young's getting his 250th first team appearance this season.
Well, here he is again. He was itching to play against Newcastle last week. Steve Borthwick just applied the brakes ever so slightly, kept him back another week.
Come off. It's purely accidental. It's a knock-on from Black. Scrum, Green.
And that one just spilled forward. And it seemed in the first half, Mike, that Leicester were winning most of the aerial duels.
Yeah, there's been a bit of a shift in momentum, and that's probably partly due to the dressing down at half-time.
Just looking at Jack Carty's timing, it's a really nice line that's run by Healy on the outside, but Carty just throws a pump of the ball rather than just letting the ball go through his hands. If he gets that away into Healy's hands, he's away, he's round the corner, and they've got an extra man, Wooten, on the outside. His timing's just been slightly off. We saw with the ball over the top opportunity, the pull back there. That's something you work on time and time again on the training paddock and get right 9 times out of 10.
Number 1, Haynes.
First Leicester scrum penalty of the night.
Back to Jack Carty there. That's what we talk about as consistency. You know, in the Pro 14 this season, Connacht beat Leinster away from home in Dublin for the first time since 2002. And Jack Carty scored 25 points, had a phenomenal game. And the message coming back from Irish camp, he's got to be more consistent. So backing up a big performance with another big performance week in, week out.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, that battle for the Irish fly half jersey. Johnny Sexton showing no signs of easing up as big Freddie Stewart, one of the stars of Leicester's season so far, comes on. Still just 20 years old. And he replaces Zach Henry at fullback. Big steal at the line out from Connacht. And away comes Ultan Delan. And that's a big blow from the Irish province, having conceded the penalty, to pinch it back in the air.
It's great work from Gav Thornbury there. He's an absolute nuisance at that. He played Munster a few weeks ago and he got player of the match. And he single-handedly destroyed the Munster line-out. Stole a lot of ball that day. Massive release of pressure, that.
Number 7. Time's still off a second. Yeah.
Well, there is Abraham Papa-Aliti. Gigantic back row coming on for Conor Oliver. And I think the officials just want to check something here.
Keep him there a sec. Lads, we don't need to run in, okay? We come in and we set, okay? Wait, time still off? Time on now.
Well, play rages on, and Matt Scott's Cuts a wonderful incisive line off that line out. Now George Martin. He's driven all the way over the 22. And Leicester flexing those bulging attacking muscles again. There's Wiese, halted by Papali'i. Henderson's in there, but instead it goes for Martin.
Advantage.
There's a penalty coming should they need it. Young's a sneaky little dink over the top, and it's just gone too
The
far.
tacklers are too slow, and we've got number 2 off feet as well. Number 16.
Come back for that infringement.
Tacklers have to roll away first, and number 16 is never supporting his body weight. Post scored.
Yeah, Shane Delahunt clearly off his feet there, not supporting his body weight, trying to slow the ball down.
It's a freebie kick, isn't it? Almost gets the right bounce. Sometimes that just pops straight up. Scott scores. Unfortunately, it bounced straight forward for Ben Youngs and Leicester.
The mark's just on me 10.
Welford Road, the smallest dead ball area in world rugby, is it?
Yeah, postage stamp.
Well, this is young Tommy Raffel preparing to enter the fray, and he has a seriously bright future ahead of him. Formerly captain of Wales under-20s. We'll just have to wait until Johnny McPhillips has lined this one up and done the necessary. Well, with 22 minutes of this last 16 tie remaining, it is Leicester Tigers 27, Connacht 18. And it is Luke Wallace who's replaced by Tommy Raffel. So like for like, open side for open side, Fetcher for Fetcher. And Tommy Raffel will look to make a considerable impact on this game. Wiese is met by 2 big Connacht defenders. Eventually the ball is available for Youngs. He's such a good game manager, Ben Youngs. So we enter the final, nearly quarter of the match. And Connacht back to a 2-score deficit. What have they got in the tank? Papali'i certainly takes some stopping. Played to Delahunt. Delan hasn't stopped running all evening. Forward they come once more. Good powerful carrying from Masterson. We've got the penalty, and Paul Boyle wants to go quickly. Leicester Tigers didn't look to be 10 there as Blade is smashed by Matt Scott. Now Porch looks a little bit bamboozled in that unfamiliar scrum half position. And they're trying to steal a march around the fringes once more. Blade to Dennis Buckley, a dummy that does not fool the Leicester defence. Blade again, Carty, Daly. Just dips the head and rampages forward. Robertson McCoy's well behind the gain line. He's dealt with. Blade inside ball, it's gorgeous, and skating through goes Wooten, taking half of Leicester with him and reaching the try line, but there will be several things to check here. The pass looked a little forward. There may have been a double movement.
Come to you for that.
Go ahead, Ned.
My on-field decision is a try, because there's a ground in there. I just want to check initially the tackle first from the player, and then what happens after, if it's a double movement or he's not tackled and he's placed the ball.
Okay, so tackle first. Marmion's pass, I think it was forward.
Try, yes.
I haven't seen it the first time round. His pass, it's a brilliant pass out the back of the hand, but I think it goes a mile forward. Yeah, it does. It goes at least a yard forward, but then Wooten, that was some acceleration as he came through.
Okay.
Well, he's not held, is he? Is he held there? I think the finish is fine, but I think the pass is forward.
Okay, so the tackle's fine. We've boxed that off. Okay, there's no foul play there.
Yeah, I'm happy with that, mate.
He's not held either. We just need to check that grounding now, because I'm happy with everything up into the grounding. Okay.
Well, they don't appear to be looking at the pass
now.
Okay, we'll check that, mate.
Thank you.
Derek, can we just check the grounding, please?
Maroney's doing everything he can.
Okay.
Stick a hand in there.
From my position here, Bricks, He's always in control of the ball. We just need to make sure that ball is on the line. Can you just clarify that for me, please? Can you just make sure that ball is on the line for me?
The grounding's fine,
just double check for me,
but
please.
they haven't gone back and checked the
Directly
forward
push
pass.
forward right down, please, at the point of grounding.
Okay, for me, from that angle, the point of the ball is on the line, so I'm going to award the try unless you've got anything conclusive to overrule me there, Bricks.
No, there's nothing conclusive to overrule you, mate.
Yeah, thank you. Pass was fine. Yeah.
Well, Connacht's game breaker has struck a massive blow in this last 16 tie. Perhaps their signing of the season, Alex Wooten, with his 11th try of the campaign. And what a score it is.
I tell you what, the acceleration from him when he took the pass, forward or not, was absolutely sensational. Look at the speed he goes through now. And he just leaves all the defence, almost gets away from Stewart. He does from Youngs, and then has the skill to finish it. That guy has got some wheels.
Great bit of skill from Caelan Blade as well. That little offload, we're not sure if it was forward, but you know, they've been given the try, and it was a lovely bit of skill. Pass back inside, and great competition with Kieran Marmion for that scrum half spot.
The top try scorer in the Guinness Pro 14. More metres made than anybody else, just shy of 400 in the league campaign. And he's made it a 2-point game, entering the final 20 minutes. And what a finale we have here under the beams of the Welford Road floodlights.
Go back.
Played back to Carty.
Okay, now.
And Freddie Stewart, we haven't seen much of his running game since he came on. He's going with the aerial routes. And it's a little bit awkward for Connacht. It's knocked on, and Papali'i just fighting his way forward. The numbers here for Connacht, if they can shift it. Daly straightening. O'Brien hurdles one. Just about beats another gorgeous offload to Porch. He's managed to squirm and scramble free of a couple of tackles. And then it's high from Youngs, and Caelan Blade has made a bit of a hash of that. The Leicester Tigers are not 10.
Never 10 metres.
I wonder if Adam Jones is thinking along the lines of
I'll explain
yellow
this to you in a
card.
sec, okay? I'm not going to yellow card the player because he was never in control of it and he didn't know if he was back 10, okay? Different scenario would have been a different option.
You put down the last one before half time, and then we went for the penalty and you're forgetting about it.
Thank you. Not back 10.
Paul Boyle, not quite the referee whisperer of an experienced captain, but certainly making his point. And Jack Carty, rather improbably, is going to go for goal to try and nudge Connacht ahead.
I think it's the right decision. Here's Blade. Does he knock it on?
He's maybe a little bit lucky because he's well out of control, and if Luan de Bruyne isn't there, then it's a knock on.
And the ball goes forward 5 metres before anyone touches him, so you get away with it, but take your chances. It's a nice little inside ball before. He's trying to get the tempo of the game up, make an impact.
This is one mighty kick for Connacht's all-time top point scorer. This for the Leeds in the last 16. He's pushed it wide. And he's scraping furiously at some offending mud on his right boot.
Same as the first half.
But the penalty count is rising. 14 now conceded by Leicester Tigers. And it is Connacht who have the momentum.
We heard from Brett Deacon, he talked about field position. They haven't added any of it in this second half. They need to get a big turnover around the halfway line on this carry.
We spoke about discipline as well, and it's been poor for Leicester again in the second half.
This is McPhillips stabbing one into the Connacht half. Blades eventually hoofed away by Porch, and Tigers will take that. Line out just inside the Connacht half.
I wouldn't be surprised now if they go back to the driving game. I know they're on the halfway line, but it's worked for them pretty well. Can't see any forwards dropping out into the back line. Ben Youngs has stepped off the line. He's back 10 metres. Got to look at a drive, I'd have thought.
And the line-out is an area of great strength, as you'd imagine, with Steve Borthwick, the line-out supremo himself, in charge. And it's a safe option for them again. Beginning to creep forward. Youngs now spies space. Wonderful step and a swooping pass from Youngs. Maroney on the outside. Options outside him. Frees the pass to Potter, who steps and slaloms and jinks and is caught just short. The Tigers come flying into life. Youngs again is caught around the base and driven almost to the whitewash. They're that close. Martin, less than a metre short. Still they will come. They will assemble the heavies for a raid on the line. Vieser dips his big South African head in there.
Offside again as well.
They've got a penalty up their sleeve should they need it. They'll fancy their chances of scoring the try. Is that ball on the whitewash? Has it touched the paint? Not quite.
Held up. I'm not sure who's under Henderson
Tielemans
there.
always checking in the background. For me, the ball is held up, okay? Time off. Yeah, just wait. No pre-binding, okay?
We're not going to do that. We're going to try.
It's a penalty. They haven't chosen the option yet while your player's getting treatment, okay? Offside.
Let's just take another look at this.
In a row, hands in front of the high-most point.
Drive round the corner from Henderson. First of all, it's De Bruyne who's caught just short. Now here comes Cameron Henderson round the corner. What do you make of this, boys?
There's one more carry first. This is Martin's carry.
Number 1 Connacht substitution.
It's 2 rooks on from this. This is Martin. He gets stopped short. Then Henderson for me. Now I'm not sure who can be underneath him there, unless they're as thin as cellophane.
Their bricks, it was held up to me.
Yeah, I'm just looking through the footage now, mate.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to put time back on then. Is that okay? Just wait.
His arm around the neck. I don't think it's touching the ball though.
Exactly.
I can't see a clear ground in there.
Okay, yeah. Time back on it.
I think it's a try. And like you said, if it's not a try, it's a high tackle. They got the penalty anyway. They move on.
It's an argument for a penalty try there if Dominic Robertson-McCoy's got Henderson in a headlock.
I think so.
They got into that position though off the Leicester maul again. They drew in so many Connacht defenders.
You've been thrown
It's like a vacuum. Create a load of space out wide.
Well, a Connacht jumper was thrown across the gap there. Apologies if you picked up any offensive language over the referee's mic there, by the way. Come on now, boys, calm down.
Yeah. Okay, let's take your own
Saturday night, the pubs are closed. That's what you want, isn't it, really?
Yeah, you can have the line out again. Line out option called because it's a line out offence. Yeah. Number 5, Connacht substitution. Number 5.
So Gavin Thornbury's been withdrawn for Connacht, a typically industrious shift.
Time back.
And the big Irish lock. And on comes Oisín Dowling, formerly of Leicester. Now then, Martin, safest hands inside Welford Road. And this is where the Tigers can kill you. This is where they can hurt you.
Okay, you offside there, Jack.
This is where they score so many of their tries, and they're going to get another one. It's vintage Leicester. It's just like the Tigers of old. And it's Charlie Clare's second of the evening.
Yeah, certainly Connacht's Achilles heel. We spoke about it before the game, that Racing 92 game in December. It's an area they really struggled, and Leicester have clearly looked at that vision and come up with a plan to attack it this week. And you know, they set them all really well.
Yes, please.
You know, for me, there's just a lack of urgency there from Connacht to kind of completely, you know, blow it up while they can. As soon as that line-out catcher hits the floor, they've got to absolutely obliterate it and smash it towards the touchline.
It's a really good drive, isn't it? Really tight.
Everything okay there, Jack?
Boyle comes up the side and then tries to spin Clare over, but I think had he not have scored, it would have been a penalty try. It's been a real strength for Tigers, actually, in the last 4 or 5 weeks. Not just against sides like Connacht, but everyone. It's been the scrum, the set piece, the line-out, the driving game. It's been what they go back to if things aren't going well. And tonight, the rest of it hasn't gone that well, but that in particular has been very, very good.
McPhillips then to extend the leads. And it's creeping in. It's a big kick for Johnny McPhillips and for Leicester Tigers. And it is a 2-score game once more. And suddenly, after Carty had the chance to put Connacht in front, it is Leicester who pounce. And Charlie Clare's 5th try of the season has given them a commanding lead heading into this last 12 minutes or so. Conor Fitzgerald is on for Jack Carty, and it is he who restarts. Clare gathers on the bounce. Tigers looking for a clean, controlled exit from this position. Nuts and bolts of their game, the set piece, the kicking duel. So reliable, they've become areas of significant strength under Steve Borthwick, especially this season. Youngs. It's a little bit awkward for Porch. Blades. Robertson McCoy is asked to make the yards, which he does. Blade, but there was obstruction.
In front.
Now, Austin, you've been beavering away in the background there with our analysis software, and you've highlighted beavering some excellent work from man who's wearing your old jersey. That's the Tigers number 9, Ben
There's
Youngs.
the penalty, first of all. The obstruction running in front. You've got to be so careful, but 9 times out of 10 you get away with that. But what you don't get away with is when someone of the quality of Ben Youngs makes this type of break off the back of a maul. It's exactly what you want as a 9, and 250 games he's been behind some really good mauls, but the way he breaks out, instead of running straight, he steps off because he's recognised that all 3 defenders are moving back towards him. But then he doesn't throw the short ball because he sees the shoulder angle, both 12 and 13 outside shoulder facing him, throws a long ball over the top. Maroney makes a brilliant break and pass, and that subsequently leads to the territory, the field position and entry into the red zone. That is where he's one of the best 9s. Probably one of the best 9s ever at doing that, attacking the fringes, but makes 5 or 6 steps and then boom, steps off a foot and completely changes the picture and the angle of attack. Very, very good play from a not so old 9, which is very depressing. I mean, this guy's been around longer than time, hasn't he?
Okay, in, set.
Yeah, made his Leicester Tigers debut 14 years ago this month, back in 2007, April 2007. And that is his last act, in fact. Ben White on.
I think his first game was, I know we're just going through a census at the minute, but I think his first game was just after the Magna Carta.
Was that around the time we were sending King Edward home to think again?
I think my analogy ends there, too,
Yeah, he's seen plenty in his 15 or so years at Tigers. Here's Matt Scott, one of the newer brood here in Tigers Town. McPhillips, just action on these fizzing passes. Stewart took it in. Maroney has a little crack. White's. James Whitcomb is on for Leicester Tigers, replacing Luan de Bruyne in the front row. There is his rather large rump and shot. And now carrying is Henderson. In the blind side they go. A little chip through from McPhillips, but Porch is there. And there's a chance for Connacht to counter. Daly, it's a 2-on-1. And he releases Matt Healy, and there is all kinds of space back there. Stewart comes across. How's the bounce? Stewart deals with it well. This gargantuan 20-year-old mops up the danger. Connacht try to counter-ruck, but it's not coming. Ben White's asking for protection. He's going to have to use it. I think 5 seconds may have elapsed there. White's box kick is a good one. Well, it's certainly been a bumper weekend of rugby so far, and it doesn't stop tonight. The runners-up in the Champions Cup last time out, Racing 92 hosting Edinburgh. Then it's Bogdo Begla versus Bristol, 2:45 on BT Sport 3 HD. We're off to Llanelli for Scarlets versus Sale immediately after that, 5:15. And finally the weekend rounded off at the Stoop. Harlequins versus Ulster to decide the last quarter-final place. Here is Shane Daly. Connacht have not given up hope of reaching the last 8 themselves. Jordan Duggan just off the bench, the loose head prop. Blades has brought a lot of zip and pizzazz since coming off the bench. Fitzgerald Into Porch. Blades dug in from a standing start, and is not the way to make yards, but that certainly is. Once again, Paul Boyle swoops on a loose ball and lacerates the Tigers' defence. An Irish broadsword carving up Welford Road, and Connacht are not done yet. They are refusing to die in this last 16 tie.
That's great work from Paul Boyle. We saw him do it in the first half as well. Just to identify there's no forwards, no pillars either side of the ruck, and there's a big open hole there. And great pace there. Finishes off the try really nicely. See what it means to him back in the game now.
Yeah, Fitzgerald has converted as well.
Let's go,
the man they used to refer to as Young Ronan O'Gara in his fledgling days at Munster, and we're back to within 2 points.
Yeah.
It's been fascinating ebbs and flows in this game.
13,
it's been a little bit of an issue for Leicester, you know, not having those forwards set in stone. You know, they're the foundations of your defence, those 2 forward defenders either side of the ruck.
This is what you're talking about, the pillars for people at home. It's basically the first defender either side of the breakdown, but how many times have they gone through the middle?
Well. Okay, time back on then, please.
Either side of the breakdown, first defender, 2 wide for Leicester, time and time again. On that occasion, they were 5-6 metres apart. Is that the 3rd try through the middle of the ruck?
Yeah, it's an area that Leicester Tigers have not addressed sufficiently in this second half, and a couple of times now it's been Paul Boyle. Oh, but it's been stolen from Papali'i, and George Martin suddenly from nowhere galloping up towards the Connacht try line. White has a shot. Momentum swinging from Tigers to Connacht, from home to away, from one end to the other. And Tigers will feel a try now could be the haymaker that finally quells Connacht. Kelly stepping, striding for the line, just short. White, terrific pace from Charlie Clare, who's on the hunt for a hat-trick. Still it's there for the Tigers, and they'll use the power. Whitcomb, Jasper Wiese is the man they want to take this. He's their go-to juggernaut. Just short. How much longer can Connacht repel these East Midlands giants? It's very narrow. It's route 1. Is it successful? Is this the try that they crave? It certainly is. Over go the Tigers, and that might just do it. And young James Whitcomb, a 4th generation player, looks like he is a try scorer for the first time in the green, red and white of Leicester Tigers.
Yeah, so disappointing from a Connacht perspective, you know, after they've just scored and they come back, receive the kick-off, and they end up conceding the try. But great work from Leicester forwards here, picking and going, winning the inches, you know, latches from either side, you know, driving them through the contact. Relentless attack, just picking and going, and you know, Connacht can't stop it. Connacht look a bit high there in their defence. You know, you want to be in that 3-point start on your haunches.
Yeah, it's not actually James Whitcomb that's scored that, so still waiting for his first try in the green, red and white of Leicester Tigers. Harry Wells, man of the match last weekend, looked to have the ball tucked under his left arm as the drive went over.
It's 3 generations now, completely devastated at home watching.
I'm not sure James Whitcomb's great-grandfather, who played for Wales in the 30s, is still with us.
Well, let's hope he is.
Yeah, my apologies to Clan Whitcomb, but there is Harry Wells, the try scorer, blinking furiously. And the conversion successful as well. So it's a 9-point game, 5 minutes to play. And Connacht, once again, having got themselves back into this contest, and swiftly falling out of it. Here's Wiese, and they will do well to haul him down. Papali'i can't stop him. He's got support. He doesn't care. He's doing it all himself, Jasper Wiese. A clear out coming from Duggan and Fitzgerald. Tigers still have it. And the crossfield kick coming in, but Healy has time to call the mark.
There was no way in the world Wiese was passing. He could have had Usain Bolt running outside him. He was looking for contact. The guy is a one-man wrecking ball. The carry is just insane. Does really well on the take, bumps off one defender, then accelerates through. He's got a player on the inside, White, player on the outside. No, you're not having it this time. You're not having it there either. I just love running over people.
Yeah,
and
the
he
South
does it
African
well.
steamroller. Poor old John Porch, atomised by a giant number 8.
It's okay, you.
The Tigers can ice the cake
through the line of touch
and start looking forward to a quarter-final next weekend if they can score again here. Keeping the ball for a significant period of time would do the trick. Ball has been infiltrated by Dowling. It is just there on the Tigers' side. And Harry Potter's gone into play scrum half. Clear. 2 tries tonight. Fantastic turnover there. Connor Oliver it was. Connacht need to be scoring, and they need to be scoring soon. They rip it wide to Wooten. He's the man they'll look to create and conjure something. John Porch dancing around like a ballerina. Go down the short side, but they're into touch. And that was not the right option.
Touch, nothing quick.
And now it's that time of the
On
evening.
the line, Black.
Austin Healy, who is your Challenge Cup player of the match?
Well, look, I think there's been some really good performances from the Connacht side. Paul Boyle's led admirably. But if you look at Leicester Tigers, Visa's carried immensely. He's just been everywhere. He's been that physicality, that go forward. Maroney's offered loads of difference in the back line and a lot of pressure leading to a couple of tries. But this game has been Leicester's driving maul. I can't give it to the whole maul, but I'm going to give it to the guy that's benefited the most from it, scoring 2 tries. Charlie Clare is our Challenge Cup man of the match.
How impressed have you been with Charlie Clare and the whole Leicester forward effort tonight, Mike? It's certainly come to the fore.
Yeah, the forwards, they've really laid the platform, they've laid the foundation for, you know, the rest of the team to play well. You know, they've got whether they're carrying the ball, the go forward, led by that man Jasper Visa, getting over the gain line continuously for 80 minutes. It's been massive, and the maul has been a real weapon for them. Every time they've mauled, they've got go forward, they've got traction, they've got over the gain line. It's sucked in a lot of those Connacht defenders and created space out wide. So for me, you know, the forward pack has really laid the platform for this performance.
Yeah, Steve Borthwick, masterminded performance if ever there was one. 15 tackles from Charlie Clare tonight as well, in addition to his brace of tries. 7 carries for 14 metres around the fringes, and some more significant numbers posted by Jasper Visa, who appears to have something of an upset stomach. I wonder what the pre-match meal is at Welford Road these days. There's Henderson in the lineouts. Visa, vomit down his jersey, fury in his eyes, Connacht defenders in his sights. And now White's into George Martin, who's put in a mighty shift. Tigers will just try and manage this last 2 minutes or so. They have the penalty. McPhillips gliding through. It's a wonderful break from McPhillips. Oh, that is sensational. Is there a finish? He just about gets it down.
Please tell me he's grounded that. That will be the greatest try he's ever scored in his career. Runs through the traffic, takes the ball in the backfield, thinks about the kick, goes through the entire
Just
pack.
check this quickly. My on-field decision is no try. It's held up. The advantage is over. So if it's held up, it's scrum 5. Can you just confirm that, please, Bricks?
Yeah, I believe it's held up, mate. We'll just have one look to make sure.
Yeah.
Well, this was magnificent, Austin.
Yeah, straight through, accelerates. And you think at this stage, where's he going? Left foot, bump, pumps, accelerates, tries to ride the tackle. That is a brilliant
Thank you.
defensive effort.
Green ball.
Yeah, Sean O'Brien.
Yeah, Sean O'Brien just gets him on the wrong side, doesn't he? Clamps on the ball and then dives over the top of it. Gutted for that young man. He's had a good game. Kicked well, controlled things relatively well, but that would have been something very special.
It certainly would. Another special moment coming for young Nick Dolly. A debut for him at hooker on for Charlie Clare. And he'll get a couple of minutes in the Tigers jersey.
Crouch. Bind! Set.
Well, Tigers looking to end this one with another try. Wiese, Jasper Wiese, the bulldozer is there. Unstoppable, irrepressible, magnificent try from Jasper Wiese. And that is just what the gigantic South African is all about. And a very fat quarter-final cake is iced by Jasper Wiese.
He's an absolute beast. He's just kept going for 80 minutes.
Time for restart, okay?
You know, the power, the speed, breaks out wide again, as Austin spoke about earlier, and just bulldozes his way over. There's no stopping him.
Okay, yeah.
It's been fantastic tonight.
Yeah, I don't think Fitzgerald... That's like being in the sea and seeing a great white swim towards you.
See you, Jasper Wiese. Not sure what the celebration's about, but that is what Jasper Wiese is about. 4th try in just this 10th outing for Leicester Tigers. He's been prolific, and he has settled the issue, if there was any lingering doubt about who's heading for the last 8s. McPhillips slots the conversion, and as we approach full time, it's Leicester Tigers 48, Connacht 32.
It's just how well he gets off the base. You know, he gets outside the flankers time and time again. His acceleration, that first 5 metres, is real power.
Oh, now we've got some sorting out to do here.
It's a red card. He just can't do that.
Yeah, John Porch, well, the yellow card is in the arm of... Let's put it back in Adam Jones, but...
Time off, sec.
We're just going to check with Sean Brickell and with Phil Waters, the assistant referee.
From my side, I see the player being taken out in the air and landed on his side. For me, it's a yellow card unless you've got anything differently to add at a contact point.
Where he lands to be relevant if you decide if that's dangerous or not.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so
just need to check the contact point.
Would, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, Brex.
Yeah, go ahead, mate.
We just want to check the contact point there for me, okay?
Okay, so how the player lands, mate, yes?
Please.
Yeah.
Mark, could you see the landing, please, of the player tackle in the air?
He lands on his arm and his back. If this is a slightly more of a tip, you know, it's reckless, isn't it? He loses his balance in the last 5 yards. That's really dangerous, first and foremost. But because he lands on his back, not his neck and his head,
lands on his
it's a
side,
yellow
so
card.
for me it's a yellow card against number 15, Black. Yeah?
I agree with your decision, mate.
Number 15, Black. Where's the player? Okay.
Yeah, reckless and disappointing end to this defeat for Connacht. John Porch sent to the sin bin.
Number 15, Black, dangerous tackle in the air.
McPhillips is going to take the line out here rather than tapping and knocking it out. So Tigers want to play. They want another try. They want 50 points with the clock red. How's this for a statement of intent? Nick Dolly does not hit his target, but recovers it. However,
and that's full time.
There was a knock on.
Relax.
And they all come piling in. Nobody wants to leave this match. Shari Wells is having his mullet scalped from his bonds.
I've got this, yeah.
And with time up, Adam Jones just wants to get in and get warm. Instead, he's going to have to embed himself among some.
We're going to have to look at this, okay?
120 kilo monsters.
Yeah, please, yeah.
Mark, can we have a look at it starting, please?
We're not done quite yet because Sean Brickell is going to have to look at this as the team will.
Take your own players. Okay, Black to the 22 and take your players. To the 22 and take your players. Green, halfway line. Green to halfway for me, please. Let's go. Let's go. Okay.
Just take it away. Yeah. We don't need any help.
No. Just bring your own players back there.
I don't think Delahunt can pull someone's hair, but there's something going on in the backfield as well.
I think it starts with a push on Alton Delan.
Yeah. So for me, I didn't see any clear foul play there. It's a push there from Green.
Where's the hair pull? I missed that.
You'll see it in a sec.
So far, nothing that I'm seeing.
Takes his head off, his cap off, and then Delahunt grabs the back of his hair and pulls his head back.
It's a push after the whistle,
yeah,
mate.
For me, Sean, it was a knock-on clearly from Green, so I'll end the game there if that's okay.
I think that's a wise thing.
If you're gonna grow a mullet, you run the risk.
It's Durger these days, but a chaotic and bad-tempered affair ends in chaos and bad temper. 11 tries we've had at Welford Road, but in the end it is Leicester Tigers who have prevailed. They will face Newcastle Falcons here at Welford Road in the quarter-finals next week. They've beaten Connacht by 48 points to 32.
And it's one of those games I think that Steve Borthwick will be really happy with. We said before the game it appeared that Leicester were concentrating predominantly on the Gallagher Premiership with the team that they picked. We didn't really, we didn't qualify Visa and some of the performances of that pack. Charlie Clare, their driving game. Their backline didn't really do anything apart from pounce on a few errors, score 3 tries. There's things that Tigers will want to tidy up. Defence of the ruck, behind the ruck, because other sides will have spotted that and they'll go at Leicester there. But all in all, Steve Borthwick will be a very happy man tonight.
Yeah, 9th win at home this season out of 11 fixtures for Leicester Tigers. George Martin's been very, very impressive tonight. Mike, how disappointed will Connacht be? They were close, they were hanging on by their fingernails, but in the end, they've just fallen short.
Yeah, I think Connacht will be massively disappointed. They had a poor finish to the Pro 14, losing on 3 consecutive weekends, and then this was a real opportunity for them to come out, put a statement down and get into a quarter-final. And the team they picked, the experience they had in that team, against the Leicester side, which was missing some key players and big players, certainly a disappointing result. And they just unfortunately got dominated up front. That Leicester pack really laid the platform for the performance of Leicester to go on and win the game.
How impressed were you with that Leicester pack, Mike? We thought it might be a clash of styles, the forward grunt of Tigers against the attacking expansiveness of Connacht. But Leicester took their opportunities so well, and that maul is such a weapon.
Oh, it's such a weapon. And, to start with, Connacht were getting on top of the scrum at the very start of the game, but slowly that kind of diluted out, and Leicester just got on top. They will start to win the collisions in defence. Their maul got on top, they got go forward, and when Connacht tried to maul against Leinster, they just got nothing from it. They got no traction, they got no momentum, and Leicester turned up very physical, a dominant display, and that's probably why they haven't lost here in 4 months.
Yeah, some big tackle counts posted by the Tigers pack. 11 from De Bruyne, 15 from Clare, the player of the match. Double figures for Joe Hayes, 22 from George Martin. He made 35 metres from 10 carries as well.
And you think of this, look at this Leicester performance. If they can cut that penalty count down, how good a side are they going to be? And
they're missing a lot of big players as well. You throw Ellis Genge, I beg your pardon, Dan Cole back into that pack, it only gets stronger.
Yeah, Callum Green there as well in the pack in the second row. So yeah, I think that there are not many points off 4th place in the Premiership. So cut that discipline out, and they can be back up there.
Well, one of the most impressive performers at the heart of that Tigers victory. They're through to the quarter-final. 2 tries from their player of the match, Charlie Clare, who's with Laura Winter.
Thanks very much, Jamie. Yeah, Charlie, a brilliant performance from you tonight and from your driving maul as well. And, of course, you coming out with 2 tries as well. Just talk us through the emotions coming out the right side of this one tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously good to get the win. We had a good week's training. Boys were very excited to come play at Welford Road on a Saturday night. It'd been even better if there was crowds in, but I'm sure we'll get there soon. But look, our maul's something we pride ourselves on, and I'm just lucky enough to be at the back of it.
It would certainly be a match where the fans would have truly got behind you. There were times where it looked like Leicester were creaking ahead, and then Connacht would come straight back. How did you maintain that composure?
Well, credit to Connacht, they're a hell of a side. They score some absolute wonder tries, and you don't know where they come from, and you're still under the post, sort of wondering what to do next. But credit to our boys, we stuck together and managed to grind out the win. And
a fine win it was. Congratulations to you as well, our Challenge Cup man of the match.
Cheers, thank you.
Thank you, Charlie.
So welcome back to Mattioli Woods, Welford Road. Another brilliant performance from that man there. So dynamic, so powerful, too good. Leicester Tigers winning that one, 48 points to 32. Well, we're going to sweep up all the reactions, starting with the losing coach, Andy Friend, who's chatting now to Laura Winter.
Thanks very much, Ugo. Andy, I'm sure it's a very disappointed changing room right now. Commiserations, it was such a hard fight tonight. What do you think the difference was?
In the end, physicality. I thought we did really well to come back after what I thought was a sloppy first half from us. got the penalty just before the break, and then we worked our way back into the game well. But on 2 occasions, we then just gifted back points, and that's a credit to Leicester as well. I thought they were great, but we've got to have a look at how we let them back into the game so easily.
Can you take any positives from the fight that your side showed in coming back again, and certainly stepping up in light of the absence of some of the big international talents too?
Yeah, we know we got fight. We just said to the boys in there, it's one thing to have fight, it's another thing to have the poise to be able to finish things off, and that's where we've got to get to as a team. So they're brave, you know they're going to work hard, and they give everything they got there, but it's that killer instinct which we just didn't have there again tonight. So that's what we've got to find, and as I said to the players in there, that's all of us. We've all got to find that, and we've got to continue to work together to make sure we find that killer instinct. Thank you very much. Hard luck tonight. Thanks, Laura.
Thanks very much, Laura. It's good to be welcomed back or joined back by Austin Healey and Mike McCarthy. Also, we spoke before the game about the selection of Leicester Tigers, missing so many international players, but I mean, that performance stands them in really good stead, especially in the Gallagher Premiership, and now they're in the quarterfinals of the Challenge Cup.
Yeah, I think Andy Friend really painted a good picture there. He said it was more about desire and that killer instinct, and I think Leicester, particularly in the pack, had that. I thought Connacht had that in the pack, the way that they went through the middle of Leicester's ruck time and time again. But no one really exemplifies that more than Wiese. Every time he gets the ball, he's got a burning desire to kill whoever is in front of him, and normally it's the fly half. He makes 2, 3, 4, 5 metres against people and occasions where he just shouldn't make it, and that's got to be physical, obviously, but also his mentality. That guy's a winner. He's an animal that just wants to smash people and get stuck in.
Yeah, he's like a man possessed today. A relentless appetite for work. He just doesn't stop. You know, when he's carrying, he's hitting really good lines. He's got a good fend, and it's those yards after contact. He continues fighting, pumping the legs to get over the gain line, but not just in attack. He brings it in defence. He brings big physical contact in the tackle as well.
And Connacht clearly very disappointed. Came here with a bucket load of experience. What's your takeaways from tonight's performance, Mike?
Yeah, from a Connacht perspective, it's a disappointing end to the season. You know, they finished a Pro 14 with 3 losses on consecutive weekends. A chance here today to play for a quarter final, and I just thought they turned up. They looked a bit flat, and certainly all the noise and the energy was coming from the Leicester side, and they just laid a platform that was physically dominant. Whether it be the maul, their driving maul game, they got on top, defending Connacht's maul, they absolutely obliterated it, and they were winning all the collisions. Andy Friend spoke about it there. He mentioned the word physicality, and led by that man Wiese. The physicality from this Leicester side was incredible, and if Leicester can cut out those penalties and sort out that discipline, they're going to be a very difficult team to stop.
And Austin, when we look ahead, quarter-finals, Leicester Tigers against Newcastle, the old boss coming back here, Dean Richards, who certainly knows how to win European silverware. It's a mouth-watering tie, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. I'm looking forward to another argument with him in the car park before the match. That should be good. But no, I think, look, both sides have played each other recently. It gets into the quarters. Leicester, I think, will probably step up their selection a bit. But those guys that came in today, players like Clare, really did step up. The physicality around that forward pack was immense. And I think that's ultimately where their advance was taken. And they're good for that. They're going up in the league. Their line out, their set piece is great. So they're looking strong.